All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So it's October now. The year went by really fast, actually, and it's time for another window shopping episode. We do this every month, and if you are new to the channel and never heard of this, basically, I look at the market here on NA and talk about the trends of prices, whether items are worth enhancing, buying, or if you're trying to enhance for profit, you know, what is a good item to sell? And we talk about mostly the notable items that most people will come across at some point in their BDO career. So yeah, a lot has changed in the past month, and let's just look and talk about it. So even if you aren't on the NA server, it's probably a good idea to just look at trends as well and just see, oh, what's happening on the market, and some items may be like going up or down. So just even if you aren't on North America, it's probably fine to look at. So I wanted to do something different this time around in terms of the episode, and usually I have some sort of like, we look at everything, but I want to talk about more of the new items and the stuff that came out recently as well. So we'll be looking at everything, but I want to more focus on the newer stuff because that's what people are looking at anyway. So let's go speed through all of this as well. When it comes to weapons, these days most people are going to be at least one sovereign weapon, whether you got it for free or not, by the one free pen and you already had one, or you're working on, you know, just upgrading and all that stuff. So yeah, let's talk about this. But for everyone who's a beginner and going on, chances are you already have one pen black star, and just work on getting all your weapons to like pen first before upgrading to sovereign. Because one of the biggest questions I've gotten was like, let's say someone has one pen black star, right? And then you have some like, you know, a tet or something for your second one. People ask me, is it better to go for like the sovereign weapon but have like a random tet weapon? And the answer is no. You should go for full pen blackstar, as in main hand, offhand. Well, I guess offhand isn't really as relevant now, but like main hand and awakening first before thinking about converting to sovereign. Simply because this is just such a tedious grind for upgrading in the future, to the point where you might as well get the cheaper upgrades first, and that's just the way to go. So anyway, with that said, chances are most of you at least have one pen black star because it's free. When it comes to weapons, the offhand right now is always going to be the most profitable to enhance, simply because there's no upgrade past that yet, and maybe in the future, who knows. But yeah, over the past 3 months, the black star has been going up again. By going up, I mean it went up from like 90 to 100 billion. So yeah, that's good, but not like it's not a crazy spike as what we look at. But the reason why it's going up is because sovereign weapons are new, and not everyone is at the end game. And so people are probably grinding and saving up enough silver to buy the second one, just because it is cheap right now. So it's what it is. The next thing we're going to look at is awakening weapons and black stars for this one. So this one, yeah, they're roughly around the same price. So if you were to have asked me a few months ago, usually, or I guess the past few years, the awakening has always been historically more expensive than the main hand. But ever since they gave away a free tet black star and a free pen black star, they kind of like balanced out in terms of price. So if you're thinking about enhancing it yourself because you just want your name on it, the answer is whichever one you play. So if you're awakening, get an awakening. If you're succession, get the main hand. Eventually the goal is to upgrade anyway. So they're roughly about the same price anyway. And next we're going to be talking about the sub weapons. So this one's a little bit different to talk about just because there's more choices. So if you are a PvPer, you're probably going to have a Nuver and a Kudum. So one for PvE, one for PvP. If you are strictly PvE, you can have a Kudum or Black Star. Kudum is slightly worse than Blackstar because it has a little bit less monster AP, but it has more accuracy. And Blackstar is just more PvE damage output with the trade-off of accuracy. But in the current meta, it's not super important. And what changed in the past month? Black stars have been going down in price at Pen. And let's see, at Tet, yeah, it's going down as well. I think people caught on that offhands are the best ones to enhance for profit out of the three, just because there's nothing to upgrade yet. You just get it. But it is still probably a little bit more valued than the other two, but not by much, to the point where it doesn't really matter. But once you have sovereign weapons, your next upgrade is probably this thing anyway. So one question I've also gotten is, when is a good time to upgrade from Kudum to Blackstar? And the answer is whenever like 100 bill is not a lot for you. And the trade-off in monster AP for the accuracy is so minimal, to the point where when 100 billion silver doesn't get you at least like 3 AP, that's when it's an upgrade, because everything else is just kind of, you could literally get 3 AP for cheaper somewhere else than do that. Okay, so armors, we're just gonna speed run this one real quick. I'm not gonna talk about all of them, just like I'm not gonna talk about evasion and DR this time. We all know what it is. One thing I will mention is Labresca, or not Labresca, but like Fallen God armors in general. So in case you are trying to enhance this yourself, I do think that from Tri to Tet, most people on average are able to make the Tet version for cheaper than the market value. So like 163 billion. I think most people can self-enhance it, assuming you're using crons and all that stuff, for cheaper than 160 on average, assuming you're using a normal stack. So with that said, what stacks do you use for Fallen Gods? They're all the same. It doesn't matter if you're using the armor, helmet, gloves, or shoes. You use the same stacks. So from base to Pry, you could start at like, I don't know, 60 to 100. 100's on the high side. From Pry to Duo, I would probably start at like at least 80, but I personally start at like 100 plus the advice of, or no, Valk's Cry, so it's like 115-ish. Yeah, just do whatever you have a lot of stacks of. They kind of give 100 stacks out like candy these days, so just use 100 and you'll be fine. Duo to Try, I personally would probably start at like a 150 up to a 200 stack. Just because the rate of enhance is kind of like 10% or something. So yeah, roughly around like a 150 up to a 200. And then from Tet, or no, Try to Tet, I personally used a 245 stack on all my pieces, except for one that wouldn't go, and I used like a 280. But either way, I still would use one of the higher stacks because this is more expensive. And the item, or the price of getting a Tet for all of this, is probably around the price of like a Pen Debo soon, to the point where you would use a real stack on it. So use probably your highest stack you can. So yeah, 240 to about like 280-ish, and then you're good to go. So that goes for basically all the Fallen God. And then if you're trying to upgrade into Fallen God armors, just get the one, you can convert it to from DR to evasion and so on, and just upgrade with the vendor you turned it in to get the item in the first place, and you're good. All right, so accessories. This is going to be a fun one. As we all know, Deboreka is the most AP you can get for accessories. Tungrad is an alternative. It's more used for PvP simply because you trade off a little bit of AP, but you get more Black Spirit Rage. And Black Spirit Rage is good because it allows you to go like basically e-buff more often. Well, not e-buff, but like you get buffed more often. And it helps your clear speed for grinding and or PvP. So personally for me, I would rather have a consistent damage. Like think of a chart that's going like straight across damage. That's Deboreka. And then Tungrad is like, you're doing damage just slightly lower, but then when you get your 100%, the damage goes up and then goes off. Is like that kind of thing. But I'd rather have overall higher flat damage, so that's why Deboreka's is better. Ominous and accuracy accessories in the current meta are basically irrelevant. So it's not bad to have them. It's just you're not going to be using them as much right now, to the point where you might as well just go AP and then you get your accuracy from other sources, which we'll talk about later. So that's basically what it's like for all the other accessories as well. There's a few new things I want to talk about as well. They came out with a new item called the Azadal belt, and I'm gonna be honest, I have one. I got one from a drop, but I literally have never used it. And basically it recovers Black Spirit Rage. So if you want to look at this one, it's like you look at the skill under the text and it just tells you what it does. Recover 100% when you use it. Is it good at pen at 20 AP versus what are you trading off? If you have a pen Debo, you have 24. You're trading off 4 AP for where is it? Recovers 100% Black Spirit Rage on a 10-minute cooldown. Is that good? No, there's a lot better ways to get 100% Black Spirit Rage in other ways, which we'll talk about as well. So this is not so good. It's a cool concept. The way I would fix these items that have like the extra bonus skills is reduce the cooldown. So if it was like every 5 minutes or every 4 minutes or something, I think this would be used more often. But with a 10-minute cooldown, it's not really. So with that said, I think there was another item. I just don't remember where. What was it? The Azahal one here. And then this recovers 10% of HP when you use a skill. Boy, this is not good. This is a 35 AP, and then this is 40. So you're trading off 5 AP for it. That's even worse. But here's the thing. Recover 100% of your HP when using the skill. Yeah, you know how to avoid this problem is don't get hit or know how to use your iframes. Plus, most of these days, if you're going to be spending 40 billion on something, you know what you should do? Buy infinite potions, and then that solves your problems. Or don't get hit, you know, all that stuff. And yeah, so I mean, I like the idea of accessories that give you a bonus skill that does something unique. This was not it though. Like I think it would have more use once again if the cooldown was just shorter, and that's about it. Like you're already trading off a lot of AP to what? Recover 100%. If I see anyone using this, I think you need to just get good. I don't know. That's about it. But we talked about this one to Taybex belt a while ago. I do actually think this one is useful. It's useful in PvP. That's it. But this one actually gives relevant stat buffs for the trade-off you have. So, like, the amount of AP, DP you get is always good. And whereas the belt over here, this one recovers 100%. I think what this does is how you would use it is people are building full Tungrad to get 200%, right? And you are at like 100 or so, and then you pop this one to hit 200, and then you use it. That's it. You do your big burst montage clip, and then that's about it. So a little bit less useful. This one is very unique, but if you're going to use one of the special effect sets, the Taybex belt is the way to go. But even then, it's, you know, like, it's a group scenario item, and only one person needs to run it, and everyone else just runs Devo. All right, so with that said, let's talk about some of the new items that came out. So recently they came out with Reforge Crystals, and I have a video on the channel. I'll leave a link in the description to that as well if you want to see my more in-depth video and talk about it. But basically, when you fight the world bosses, the new ones in the Land in the Morning Light, they give you Reforge Stones, and you can have 5 different Reforge Stones in your weapons. And I talked about which ones I think are important and which ones are good. Right now they are new, but they are all going down in price. So like, how do you know which ones are relevant? The ones that are sold out. So I mean, just as a TLDR, I'll show you what I have. But if you want to see what like I have and I talk about why I chose that, just watch the other video. It's like 10 minutes. But yeah, in my awakening weapon, I chose down attack, crit damage, AP, HP, and Black Spirit recovery. So Black Spirit recovery is good. You know how we talked about that in the accessories and stuff earlier. This is another way to get recovery faster without trading off damage for it. And then this one is basically the same thing. I only have 3. I'm just waiting for the other ones that are sold out. So like I'd get another AP one and maybe a defensive because I grind high-end spots. But yeah, overall, that's like what I use. And if you want to know why I chose these, other video. So we save time. All right. So anyway, you get these by doing the weekly morning light bosses and the black shrine stuff as well. So in case you don't want to spend silver on it, that's how you get it. But if you need the ones that are basically sold out, you got to go grind those bosses weekly until you get it. Some other items I wanted to talk about were, let's see, Lightstones, the ones that are, oh my goodness, Strike Crystals are on the market. There's one. So I do think Strike Crystals are good, but if they're going down in price, you might as well just wait, because for most people, the best crystals come at like the higher end spots where you'll notice a bigger difference. But the crystal or the Lightstone combo artifacts that I use all out attack, and this is basically big damage at the trade-off of defensives, and it is good, but you also have to be a little bit more geared for this because you are losing a lot of evasion and DR along the way. But for everyone else who is either on a budget or, you know, you just want like the damage without the negative side, you just go species damage. So like whether you grind in spots with like demi-humans or Sylvians, you get the ones like 1 iridescent plus the 3 species ones, and then it gives you plus 15. So overall, all out attack is overall better, but species damage doesn't have a downside, and it's exclusive to where you grind it. So aside from that, budget things I use are, you know, like Death Blow, depending on where you're at. If you just want AP and crit rate, it's always good. PvP, just more damage to humans is always good. And then there's life skills and defensives. So yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff that I've been testing lately. But let's see, artifacts, where are they? Here are the new ones. So we have the all damage reduction and then the all evasion ones. So let's talk about this for a second. We all know the Cabo's artifact. This one is basically a PvE exclusive artifact, and these are all around usage. So PvE, PvP. They are, I think, more on the PvP side, just because like if you're going to grind, you might as well get the damage. Whereas this one's like, oh, all 12 damage reduction, but this one's plus 20 in PvE, whereas this is plus 12 is, you know, all around some more for PvP and stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, these are PvP artifacts. Do I think they're worth getting? If you like PvP, yep. If not, then stick with Kabua's artifacts. So they did add a few new crystals as of like a month ago, and let's talk about those. So as we know, Girin's tiers, you can actually buy them on the market. That's huge. And that also means doing the weekly morning light bosses, the solo version, not as valuable anymore. It is what it is. But crystals are the Stalwart Fortitude and like the 2 other like CC resist ones. And then there are other ones that we talked about here. Where are they? Yeah, this one, Precise Destruction. So we talked about this in a recent video, and if you want to check that out, it's on the channel. But I talked about my new whole crystal setup. The video is called like My Crystal and Lightstone Setup version 9. And so we talked about all of these and why I use them, where you use them, and what it's important for. So that's another video. I'll leave a link in the description as well. But yeah, There's new crystals. Some of them are worth picking up. And I mean, that's pretty much it. They also made a change as of last week with horse gear. So I think they got rid of a lot of like green gear and then they replaced it with something else. I don't really know too much about it. I didn't really look into it too deeply just because at endgame you should be using Krogdalo for everything, and you choose one of these 3 sets and then go start crafting it. I personally think wind is the most useful, but they all have a use in some way or the other depending on what you're doing. And if you're doing group spots, everyone has a different set. You can get all 3 buffs at once, and then it's pretty nice. But if you are a solo grinder, generally wind is the best one to go for. Other than that, that's about it. Like everything else, everything is on the decline on price. And why do I have that? I don't know. Let's get rid of that one. But that's about all the notable items I wanted to talk about. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We tried some new things to talk about as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop in the comments, or you could join the Discord, and I'm happy to point you guys in the right direction if you need any help. And if you're the kind of person that doesn't like to talk or anything, and you just want to look at like videos and guides, join my Discord. I have a channel where I try to keep all my guides updated. And so the most relevant ones will be in their guides and tips channel. So you don't even have to talk to anyone. You don't have to talk to me or anyone else. You just go watch the video, and then that's essentially the same thing. But if you have a more specific gear question, we have a channel for that. And you guys can I'll point you in the right direction of what you could do next. It doesn't matter where you're at in the game. I think I have a pretty good idea of gear progression for most people. So whether you're a new player or you're getting to the end game and you're just like, well, what do I do next? Yeah, just go to that channel, see what other people do, and then I'll point you in the right direction. But with that said, that's all from me today. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.